Hello, fellow comic book ones. This is Nahman. Welcome to my channel. Today we have a special guest, Gary B, the casual comic guy,
Yes,
and
sir.
my co-host Otaku is gonna start the stream. So, Otaku Hyung, start the stream, and I'll watch the guys at the chat.
Yeah, so we're really lucky to have Gary with us here in the studio, the virtual studio, and Gary, you just have like a really strong social media presence. So I'm just very curious to have this conversation with you and learn more about your origin story. So why don't you just start us off by telling us how you got started? What kind of collector you are. Just give us your background.
Well, first, I didn't know I had a strong social media presence, so cool. um, Second, I got started on a whim because our generation, we grew up where the big thing around the house was if you had cable television, right? And that's what you wanted to see, that's what you wanted to watch. Our children's generation, it's YouTube. And I know at some point in time, my kid consumes YouTube like I used to consume cable television. He consumes it constantly, and I was like, well, I better learn about this thing, see what the if he wants to get on it, what he needs to look out for, what's good about it. I just need a general education on it. And so I'm like, well, I just got back into comics when Conan came back in 2019 to Marvel. So I got back into comics then, and I'm like, well, I'll show some comics. It was really really rough, but I'm like, I didn't expect anyone to watch me anyway. I turned 52 in a week, and I'm just an old man. So I was like, no one's gonna care. So I'll just get on there. Somehow I had 5 subscribers. I don't even know who they were. And now it's 2 years later, and I'm at 1,200, and I don't know how it happened. I'm super thankful it happened. And I've had the best time getting to know people in the community. I've made a ton of great friends. And I was discussing this earlier on Thorson's channel, Rangy and Vigilante, is, the friends you have now and the way you make them is different from when we were younger and you would go out and play with other kids and do stuff. Especially in a post-COVID world or outbreak where these threats are all over the place, right? And you jump on YouTube, and this is the new bar where you don't go meet your buddies at a bar like you did when you were 17,
Oh,
18,
shoot.
You,
Remind me.
yeah, you meet them. You meet them on YouTube. And now this is the virtual bar. This is the hangout. You get on,
Hang out.
hang out for hours, and the only difference is you get to shut it off and go right to your bed, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
But I started it on a whim, and then it grew into something that became a piece of a hobby for me, and the place where I go to relax from from daily work stress or whatever the travails of life happen to be. And this is what I look forward to doing now. And
Yeah.
the community is a big part of that. And it's great every day that you can have a conversation with somebody that shares the same interest that you do.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think what makes you really special is you have sort of this lived experience and knowledge of pop culture, and obviously a passion for comics, and that'll ring true for a lot of people out there in the social media space. So yeah, thank you for being such a great community
Also,
member.
your desire to connect with the community and
Yeah.
your hashtag grow together. That I mean, they give the rest of us starters, big boost. Right off the bat, we didn't have to start where you started from. When we came in, so that was a really big boost. I was really thankful for that. Hashtag grow together.
I'm just as surprised as anybody else that grew into anything. When I created the hashtag grow together, I was trying to think of a new way to do a shout out video, and I only expected it to last that video, and I came up with the hashtag for a contest. And now I can go on to other channels, people that don't even know who I am or I've never seen before, and they have hashtag grow together in their description. And it's something that it's great. It's taken on its own life. It has meaning beyond the stupid video I made so long ago, and it's grown into its own thing. And hey, if it helps the community, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it really helps the community, especially when people are starting out. It's like when you just imagine starting over without that support, but you get community support right away. That was really, I mean, that's really what got me into comic book community. I mean, I was gonna just make a videos, let it sit there, forever, not get involved in the community. When that happened, I'm gonna get involved in this community.
Well, I saw one of your videos. I'm like, oh hey, this guy is. I think I found you when you were under 100 subs. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I'll give this guy a shout out. And if it helped you, I'm really happy it helped you. Good, because you deserve more eyes on your channel, right?
Everybody does. I really appreciate that. And that was I think that's how everybody's. I mean, at least in my circle, because everybody have a limited circle, right? But within my circle, everybody seems to really cling on to that hashtag Grow Together initiative. So
Yeah, I think
cheers, man. Cheers,
even,
man. I'm gonna take a drink.
even Brian LCS put it in his new CBCA Awards T-shirts.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Are you getting a commission off that?
no, that hashtag's not about that. I'm glad it's doing what it does, and I'm glad it helps the community. And I mean, that's the best thing about this community, right? It's you can go to other circles of life, and there's a lot of hate and division, and people that are looking for reasons to not help each other and not get along. You can come on YouTube and talk to just about anybody in our community, and it's with open arms.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
You don't have to worry about who you are, what you like to read, what you don't like to read, what you like to watch. You don't have to worry about any of that. It's just, it's just about who you are as an individual, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well said. So can you just give us a little bit more background on how long you've been doing this? Because you've been, a lot of people got into this sort of like, the content creation and their channels. I guess people kind of poured into the comic book community during the pandemic, but you were doing this for quite some time, correct?
I think right after COVID started, I got into it too.
Okay.
I think I just passed my 2-year anniversary. I got a little email.
Nice.
And and I'm at 1,200 right now, and I don't know if that's good or bad for 2 years. I have no way to measure it. I don't know what's
That's
good,
good.
what's
That's
bad.
really good.
I know there's celebrities that'll get on and they'll have 13 million in a day.
Well, we're not celebrities.
I'm just this little nobody that decided to start a channel to make sure it was safe for my kid if he decided to get on, but it's fun. A little over 2 years. The hashtag Grow Together initiative, that's a year old. I started that about a year in. I just released my last month, my third Grow Together initiative. So that's on my channel for anyone that wants to participate and find new channels to sub up, and hopefully they sub you back. And you guys know YouTube's tough. You can go up a bunch of subs in one day. YouTube will take them all away the next and review them all. And then you're all mad thinking, what happened? And then they come back 3 days later after YouTube's reviewed them. And it's this constant up and down. And at first, it'll really, really mess with your emotions and your stress levels until you figure out that what YouTube takes away, they give back in a few days. And it just, it's not people out there subbing you up and going, nah, screw it, and unsubbing you.
I wish that idea goes away, because it's a YouTube algorithm that does all the unsubbing. Yes, there's going to be certain people who sub and unsub you, but I think that's very rare. I think it's YouTube that's unsubbing you. I mean,
right? Because I think most people that sub, it's just like the average person out there who comes across one of your videos. Oh, I like that. They hit sub. They never think about the sub button again.
Yeah.
I don't know how many channels I've subbed to that I saw like one video and never have been back when I first got onto YouTube the first couple years of watching it and not being a creator and
Yeah, so it's
consuming
algorithm,
content.
Jay. It's not somebody hating you.
Right.
YouTube,
And
YouTube does what he wants to do. I mean,
right. And when you're a creator, it changes how you consume content too.
right.
So there's a YouTube has a steep learning curve, but it never stops. It's like every week you're learning something different about it,
And they're
something
also
new.
changing too. They're constantly changing their algorithm.
Yeah.
So it's a never learning stuff. Never learning. I mean,
I don't keep
never
up with it
learning.
because I'm not smart enough to keep up with what YouTube's doing. I I've tried to take the stress out of it, and I just go to YouTube to relax, to hang out, and talk about things I love, and
Yeah,
that seems to help me get through.
yeah. That's the best attitude, I think. Is that hey, I enjoy this. That's why I'm doing it. If there's a viewers out there, good. If there's one viewer that's watching you, that should be good enough. You know?
Right. And I have a couple people, like I have a lot of friends on YouTube now, people that I actually consider friends. But
Yep.
then I have people in that group that I talk to on a weekly basis now that, oh, here's my number, now it's not just talking on YouTube, it's actually real life conversations. Like,
Right.
hey man, what's going on with your day? What happened? Everything good? And
That's great. Yeah. That's well, so let's get into more about like more in depth into like what kind of collector and what your sort of likes and dislikes are. Give us some information on what you collect, and take us back to when you started and what got you into collecting.
well, I'm primarily Conan the Barbarian and anything Robert E. Howard properties. Also, I mean, when I grew up, I would just consume comics when I happened to get them. Yeah, I'm still going, Jerry. This is my 5th hour on YouTube today on the show.
We're not
So,
gonna let him rest, Jerry.
right. And speaking about friends I made on YouTube, Jerry's a big part of that,
Yeah.
And Jerry, sorry, my allergies are killing me. Jerry's one of those great friends I happen to connect with and make, and I've talked to Jerry on the phone, and it's just another great aspect of YouTube. Um, Now collecting, we grew up poor, so it's not like I was always able to get comics, and I got a lot of comics secondhand. So I remember just getting like a box of comics, and it had Conan's in it, and it had Spider Man, it had um, World's Finest with Batman and Superman.
Nice.
I mean, Brave and the Bold. It had Brave and the Bold. So I really like those old Brave and the Bolds. I really like the old Spider-Mans. Um, but I discovered Conan, and something about that low fantasy, hero fantasy, that genre spoke to me. It was just purely what it was to itself. And I'm also huge into horror. So I discovered Conan through Roy Thomas. Roy Thomas introduced me to Robert E. Howard. And I have volumes and volumes of Robert E. Howard up there, reprinting the same stories. I have leather-bound books, hardbound books, softcover books, all Robert E. Howard's, Solomon Kane, Bran McMorn, Dark Agnes, King Kull, Conan, of course. So all these volumes of Robert E. Howard and the Conans, the Culls, the Solomon Kanes, I read those over and over yearly. I just never tire of the stories. They have that magic to me. They have a grittiness to them, and they have a baseness to them that I really connect with and enjoy. Now, on the flip side of that, I'm a huge horror guy, and I've been a Clive Barker reader. Clive Barker and Robert E. Howard are my two favorite
Yeah,
authors.
Clive
I've been
Barker
a
is
Clive
awesome.
Barker reader since I was 12 years old. I have a print that he signed upstairs. I had his signature a few times on cards and books. I have a Doug Bradley signed autographed picture that says "Welcome to Hell, Gary." Doug Bradley, of him and Pinhead, and so I started out with In the Flesh was the first anthology series I read by Clive Barker, and then of course I got the Books of Blood. I got everything Clive Barker, and I primarily just read Clive Barker for years. And with Magica being my favorite story from him, that's like a 1,200-page book, which is just incredible. And he describes his work not as horror, but as imaginative fiction. And I agree 100% with his assessment. It's more than horror. Just like Robert E. Howard has a bunch of horror stories, which are great. But Conan the Barbarian has a bunch of horror elements in the sword and sorcery fantasy world that he's in. And we were talking a little bit pre-show about Sinbad. And what works for Sinbad is it's also the hero's journey. It also puts you properly through its dialogue and through its setting and music in a time and place where you don't normally reside. And that's in the Conan, Robert E. Howard writing puts you in a time and place. Although not auditory, it does it through descriptive words and the settings. It puts you in a different world.
Right.
But all those things have in common too is they all have elements of horror to them. Even the Sinbad movies have elements of horror, like when the one woman turns into a snake, half a snake, and you got the fantastical. There's horror. There's elements of horror in those.
Live skeletons.
Yes, and they may not be scary or horrific, but it's still a horror element, and all these things add to the mythos of what you're watching. And I like good Odyssey stories, right? An Odyssey story is a journey story. Sinbad knew how to do that. There was all these objectives he had to meet to get to the goal, and it was an Odyssey. It felt like an Odyssey. The Conan stories feel like an Odyssey, and the biggest misconception of the character is that he's stupid. And Conan was never stupid, especially written by Robert E. Howard. He was smart, adaptive, cunning. He could outthink his enemies as well as outfight his enemies and out-strategize them. His downfalls were what most males' downfalls are, right? He liked to party a little too much when he got the chance, so he got a little too heavy into the drink sometimes. Sometimes, he'd make his money and gamble it away, and women were his biggest weakness. So he had fallibilities that you could connect with. He was a savage, but he had a nobility, but he also had brains, and he had a code of honor. These are all things you're looking for in heroes that you connect with. And it still sticks to me to this day. I was a kid when I started reading them. I'm 52 in a week, and I'm still reading them.
Yeah.
Sorry, really long answers. I know.
No, like Conan's just has been such a presence in the comic world for such a long time. So I think we're due for really sort of like a reboot of Conan, like a legitimate. Because as great as those Arnold Schwarzenegger movies were, they weren't really indicative of the actual stories you saw in the comics. So,
or the Robert E. Howard stories.
Yeah,
he has all those stories, and not one of those stories has ever been adapted to a show or a movie. And I don't understand why you have to feel like you need to reinvent the wheel when you can just adapt what's already there and give the people what they want. Because the biggest issue I have is, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I have his cover that he was on in 2019. I have 2 copies slabbed, one CBC and CBCS. So I don't have any issues with Arnold. But his Conan isn't 100% true Conan. There's elements of Kull, there's elements of Conan, and there's elements of whatever the writer made up for the movie because they thought it would help sell the movie.
Right.
It's not true Conan.
Yeah. And again, like if you look at some of these, like what the tone of like Game of Thrones or the tone of like some of these like, what's that one? There's a Netflix series. I think it's the Norse. Yeah. No, it's the Norseman maybe.
Wheel of Time or.
No,
the Norseman was a movie that just came out, right?
Yeah, I think it's the Norseman. But these sort of ultra violent, but stories of basically the hero quest, like seeking vengeance and all these kinds of themes would do so well in a modern, remake of, or not, I shouldn't even say remake, a modern take of Conan the Barbarian. That would just be, I think, amazing.
It would.
So many fans would really be on board with
Well,
it.
and I think that's where you can do it right. Is like I'm going to answer Jason's question in just a second. Where you can do Conan right is, especially, I was excited to hear that they were going to have a Netflix show. I'm like, well, they could. The right way to do that is he had all these different things he was in his life, right? A leader of the Kozakis, an army general, a king, a pirate, a buccaneer. He was all these different, a thief. He was all these different things in his life. That show could be him going through all these different stages, all the way up until it ends, and then you start a new series where he's the king, and you do King Conan.
Yeah.
Now, Jason's question, he's asking me if I'm happy that Marvel's losing the Conan license. The answer to that is complicated. It's yes and no. One, no, because Conan doesn't exist today without Roy Thomas and Glenn Lord and their ability to meet way back. When Marvel first went after a barbaric license, they went after Thongor Lemuria, but they didn't want to come down on their they didn't want to meet Marvel at the price they were willing to pay for the license per book. Glenn Lord talked to Roy Thomas and said, we'll take it at that price and you can write Conan stories. And the reason Glenn Lord did that, it was so it would introduce new readers to the Robert E. Howard stories, so it would keep them alive and going. And I can tell you that's the only reason I found the Robert E. Howard stories was through the Conan license being at Marvel. So on one part, Jason, no, I'm not happy that Conan's leaving Marvel, because Marvel is a big reason why Conan is still a relevant character to these days. Yes, Dark Horse carried the torch admirably for years, but it's because Marvel got him to where it was.
Right.
Having said that, in today's climate at Marvel, where it's reactionary to anything that's posted by people, we might offend someone, so they change the character of Conan in the writing, which was present in the King Conan series, then I think Conan needs to be at a place where he can... Cat, stop. Where he can breathe and be the character, where people can write Conan as he is. Conan's not a sensitive character. Conan's an in-your-face character. Conan's an adventurer. He's brutal. He's smart. He's a womanizer. He's a gambler. He's a drinker. He has, as I say, great melancholies, but he also has great mirth. But you can't take that away from the character, else it's not the character.
Yeah.
And he needs to be at a place, and I think Titan Comics, where he's going, could be that place where the authors have freedom of speech to write Conan as he should be. And not just Conan, Solomon Kane, King Kull, Dark Agnes. If no one out there has read The Swordswoman by Robert E. Howard, it is one of the best origin stories you will ever read of any character. It's as brutal, if not more brutal, than some of the Conan stories, her beginning.
Right.
And it's amazing.
Take the time right if you try to put today's sensitivity about a story from thousands of years ago. I mean, that's
well. And what bothers me with that is what was always the saying when you're growing up and you're going to write something, right? Write what you know. Well, you're not allowed to write what you know anymore. Everyone wants you to write to please this person, write to please that person. If I'm going to read a story from you, Naman, I don't want to read the story I would write. I want to read the story you write, because it's based on your experiences and who you are. I don't want you to try to write a story to please me. I want you to write your story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it should be. I mean, I write a story and there's only a certain group of people will like it. I'm not going to sit there and try to please everybody. Then you write for no one. I mean,
right. Well, when you do that, you water down your characters and you take away from them what their basic essence is, right? and then you have a stable of characters that are pretty much all the same, just with different aesthetics on them.
Mhm.
But it doesn't make them a true character.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, what's interesting about pop culture, and there are things that, like, for example, there are things out there right now that were wildly popular. They trend and then they kind of disappear, right? Um, but enough time passes where it's new and interesting to a new generation. I think Conan fits right in that label, because when Conan first came out, it was wildly popular. It spawned a lot of those sort of barbarian, type fantasy, sword and the sorcerer type movies and stories throughout the late 70s, early 80s.
Right.
And we lost it, and then it kind of just went away. Like the new flavor of the month came, and
it didn't help that most of those movies were pumped out and written poorly and produced poorly and were just garbage.
Hey, Damien.
And that's not to say that I don't still watch them, Otaku, but but I also know that they're not good.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, if when that cycle comes back in today's environment, there's a lot of ways that I think where the movie writing, the TV script writing, and just the special effects and the budgets these productions have could really do something like a Conan justice. Like, I just think, like, if you had all the production capabilities of Game of Thrones attached to a title like Conan, imagine how amazing and epic that story could be.
You need that, but the way you need to do that, like we were talking, Conan's not a PC character. He needs to be Conan. He needs to be a womanizer. He needs to get too drunk sometimes. He needs to make some poor decisions because he has overconfidence. He also needs to be completely savage when he needs to be. He needs to be cunning to outthink his enemies. But he needs people like who run the boys, who aren't afraid to offend an audience. If this isn't for you, it's okay. Just don't watch it.
Just don't watch it. Yeah.
No, yes.
That's a great point.
He
doesn't have to. Again, he doesn't have to be this summer popcorn type, like where you're trying to get a mass market. He can really be niche, but still reach a lot of adult, like, especially, I think this is what we're talking about. These sort of, like, older, sort of nerdy, nostalgic comic book crowd. If you can capture that audience, you've got a blockbuster on your hands. And I think, that's just a good formula, just to target older.
Well, yeah,
older guys.
And that's really why I wanted to see him go to, like, a Netflix where they're doing where they're putting money into shows like The Watcher, or Amazon Prime, where they're putting money into shows like The Boys, and they're developing them with creators that actually care about the license and not just reactionary. It's tough when you're at Disney, and I know Disney has their model and it works well for them. But when you keep taking away from a character what makes that character who they are, then it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah.
You've neutered your whole stable of characters, and
I mean, they even making the bad guys good guys. I mean,
right. Like,
it really is about
Marvel right now.
The vision. It really is about the vision for the character. So it has to be done right. Yeah.
And they're finally doing, like, a new series they're doing right now. They're doing right. Like I'm watching Miss Marvel right now, and I love that show. It's so charming. Every minute you spend with Kamala and her family is just so enjoyable, and they're not being afraid to let them be who they are as characters. But imagine somebody coming in and trying to take away the essence of who those characters are and dulling them down.
Yeah.
Like, that show, the cast in it's amazing. The characters are amazing. But they're not doing that with every show. They're it's just, and I'm not trying to pick on Disney. It's just a lot of a lot of places that produce content now are too worried about pleasing everybody.
Right.
You know, if I pick up a prop, an IP, and I do my due diligence and I read it and I know what it is and what its roots are, and you may have to tweak it here and there for something, but you have to leave the core of that character, the core of that character.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do think we're in a place where, especially movies and pop culture content, it is very segmented. It is very targeted. So again, if it's not obviously in a summer blockbuster, if you're like Paramount and you just want to make billions of dollars, then that formula becomes a little bit more tricky. But what's nice about Netflix, that the formula of Netflix is that they provide all these different, variety of content that is targeted. So yeah, I think Netflix would be a great channel for the Conan content. I would hope that it'd be done in serials, like built-in seasons, right? Because that would
Right,
just add more
exactly.
depth to the story. If you had just like if you try to do it as a blockbuster movie, yeah, you get fans to come out and watch it. But if it didn't do well, that would be pretty much the end of the property, right?
But also do things like adult animated movies with him. He doesn't just have to be live action medium. You know,
That's
you
true.
could do like the Red Nails story, which is really brutal, and do that with adult animation and make it exceptional. You could do things like Iron Shadows in the Moon, which takes place on this island, and it has this giant just gorilla that just destroys whoever it comes in contact with. And then it has these darker elements of these metal statues in this enclosure who are cursed and only awaken at night because they killed the son of a god. And if you're there when they come to life, they murder you. And there's all these, and there's just so many elements. And I think a part of what holds Conan back these days is they don't want the damsel in distress story where there's usually a woman that's Conan saving, but there's other tales that you can tell where the woman isn't in distress, right?
Well, you could
Conan's
also
been with
have
strong
both.
women. He's
Yeah.
got Queen Zenobia.
Yeah.
He's got Bailey, who Conan was subservient to Bailey. Her word was final. She ruled with an iron hand on her ship, and that was it.
Yeah.
But they only ever focus on the one part they don't like,
Yeah.
not on the whole. When you look at it all, there's tons there for anyone to enjoy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different moving parts. And the worst thing about today's culture is only focusing on the things that you want to hate on, and also the view of everything sucks, right? Oh, did you see that movie? Yeah, it sucks. Why? Because it wasn't directed at you. If I go to a movie, everything doesn't need to be made to please me, right?
Right.
So if I go watch something and I'm not its target audience and say it doesn't really strike a chord with me, I'm smart enough to know that doesn't make the movie bad. It just means it wasn't directed towards me.
Yeah.
And I'm also smart enough to know that's okay.
Yeah.
Why would you want everything directed at you anyway? And I,
we're a narcissist society.
right. But the first thing I hear out of anyone's mouth, right, when they see a movie that doesn't speak directly to them, it sucks. No, it doesn't suck. It may suck, but oftentimes it's just because it's not directed at them, right? So, I'm not a big Western guy. I don't care for Westerns. If I watch a Western, I'm not going to go, it sucks because I don't like it. I'm just going to go, that genre is not for me. I don't connect to it.
Yeah.
It's like when I watch foreign movies, right? I cannot watch them dubbed in English. Part of the feel of a foreign movie is its original language, and I have to have the original feel. When you're watching a foreign movie, part of that experience is it being presented without changing the music,
right?
Without changing the voices.
Right.
I'm not lazy. I can read. I rather read and have that feel. if I'm going to watch something like The Heroic Trio with Michelle Yeoh, I want it in original language. It adds to the movie. As soon as it's dubbed, the movie doesn't hit.
Yeah. I think that's so true. That's absolutely true for foreign movies. Let's get
Nobody probably knows what The
into
Heroic Trio is, so
let's get into your collection now. But so you set up Conan pretty nice. So I people are going to be have their expectations now on what your Conan books are. So let's get to some of them.
all right. Well, we'll get a couple because I also am a big fan of the women of Marvel. I love so many of the women characters in Marvels. One of my favorite, and I didn't bring. So we have Binary here,
Nice.
Captain Marvel. So I can't find my first Dazzler, X-Men 230. It's over there signed somewhere in a box. I can't
I
find
saw
it.
it in one of your videos, so we'll consider that watched.
Yeah, signed by Jim Shooter. We have, of course, have one of my all-time favorite characters in comic history. We have the Black Cat.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let me make you.
And I collect anything Black Cat. But we also have, but I'm a huge Dazzler fan as well. Now we're gonna get into. We'll go into that in a second. Here we have Carol Danvers.
Oh, nice.
This is the first time she had the Captain Marvel suit on.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first Captain Marvel issue.
Nice.
We're gonna be a little all over the place now, if it's okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Comic Journey. That's gonna be a book I'll never get because it's priced out of me now.
How much is that, by the way?
Like a mid-grade copy, like a 7.0 is probably around $650 to $800.
Wow.
So this is going up a lot too. This is Savage Sword of Conan issue 1.
Wow.
And I think I have a 9.8 Canada out being graded right now. Plus I have a reader one over there. But this book's been jumping up. But love great Boris Vallejo cover. A great series, ran for 235 issues in one annual. I have them all over there. Then this is going to be a little different. There's a run of comics, and they're not all the best quality, but they're all fun. And it was Atlas Comics. They lasted like 65 different issues. They didn't finish any of their story.
Comics. I love those Atlas comics.
Iron Jaw, yeah.
All right.
Neil Adams.
Huh?
Neil Adams.
Yeah. Not this particular one.
Oh, okay.
This in Iron Jaw 1, it's Neil Adams. This is the Barbarians feature in Iron Jaw. I have the other ones. This covers Rich Buckler.
Okay. Rich, I thought Neil Adams did the first 2 covers on that though.
He did on the 4-issue series that was after this.
And that's the 3rd one?
This was his first appearance.
Okay. Rick
And
Buckler.
then it had the regular
Buckler.
series. Then of course I'm a big fan of Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have this whole series too. I just reread it a couple years ago.
Recently got that one, Gary.
Huh?
I just recently got that one.
Yeah, I think I have 2 or 3 more of this number 1. I think I have them in better grades, but this is the first one I got graded, so it's got sentimental value. I'll keep it in the 6.5 and be happy. Then of course I have her first appearance ever.
Yeah,
Nice.
that one. That's what my grail.
This book I got lucky. I got this book for $200 and it's well over that now.
Wow.
It was funny because I had a couple Ninja Turtle books that I'm not a Ninja Turtles collector, but each of those books was worth some money. So I went on Instagram and I go, look, my comic shop just got this slab in. I need it. I want to sell this book. Couple friends on Instagram set up the raffle. I had it raffled and sold in 15 minutes. I called the comic shop. I'm like, don't you touch that book. I'm on my way down for it. You save it. And I had the book within an hour.
Nice.
Now, this one is another one of my favorite characters, Carol Danvers.
That one.
Great book, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it had the green label because this book, there's a lot of printing errors on it, and a lot of copies don't have the bottom staple attached.
Oh, so wait, did you got that raw and you sent it in and they came back with a green?
No,
label?
I got that in a raffle. I won the raffle for $10 and I got that book for $10.
Oh,
Nice.
Another Instagram raffle, and I showed it, and I was so happy to have it. And then I had one person leave me a troll comment. That's not worth that much. I'm like, it's not about what it's worth. I like the book. It's about what it's worth to me.
Yeah.
I'm not up here trying to upshow people. So Red Sonja, issue 1.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a nice one.
Got it in a nice 9.4. I got to get her first solo series though, the Marvel feature volume 2.
I was bidding for that. It went for 54. I should have bid a little bit higher.
Right. I have 3 other copies of that. I just haven't got any of them graded.
I got the raw version, so it's all right.
And King Conan #1.
Oh, nice.
I got maybe 5 or 6 of these. That's the one I got graded. I have my Conan #1.
Oh
yeah.
That's out of my reach.
Huh?
6.0. That's a nice grade too.
That book's done way up since I bought it.
Yeah,
I bought that book for $300, and I think it's that grade. It's going around 6 now, which is crazy to me. The very first appearance of Red Sonja.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You do have the first appearance. Great.
Yeah. That's pretty expensive too, right?
What's that? Yep, 6.0.
Yeah.
And then, of course, her first cover appearance.
The cover appearance, yeah.
Nice.
And I got about 16 other Conan slabs over there. But that's what I'll show for the books. That way we're not here all night.
Wow.
So, Journey, I do have the Red Sonja Marvel feature. I just don't have it in a grade that I want to get. I don't have it in a grade I want to get graded. I probably have a couple 7.0 copies, but I want to have at least an 8.5, 9.
That's her first solo, right? That's her first solo. Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah. Marvel feature volume 2. It ran for 7 issues.
Yeah.
So do you sometimes buy slabs, or do you prefer to get them raw and then send them in, or what's your process for? Because it looks like you're collecting slabs. You're focused on slabs.
I do. The Conan one I bought pre-slabbed. A lot I sent in, but the Red Sonja I bought raw, sent it in to get slabbed. The first appearance and first cover appearance I bought and sent in. The first Spider-Woman, Marvel Spotlight 32, I bought slabbed. It was at the comic shop in that 8.0. So it doesn't matter. It's however I can get it. I'm not a snob either way.
Yeah. Yeah. But you are looking to collect slabs though, not raw.
No. Anything you see here slabbed, I also have raw.
Oh, okay.
Except for Conan 1. I have it in Conan. The other ones I have them in reprints.
Gotcha.
So if I have something slabbed, I already have another way to read the story.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I have maybe 15 different reprints of Conan 1. I have maybe 15 different reprints of 23 and 24. Yeah. Spider-Woman 1 I have probably at least a dozen times.
Yeah.
And, I have these things over and over in different forms that I can read them.
Do you have any books at CGC right now? Are you waiting on any books?
I have 8 books out at CBCS right now.
Oh, CBCS, cool. Yeah.
I've only been using them for the last year and a half. I like the quality of their slabs better.
Yeah.
You send them signature ones?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a few of their signature ones over there. It's nice.
Yeah. I also, so my subscription runs out this year for CGC, and I'm not going to be renewing with them because I think CBCS is doing it a lot better. And so,
same here.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to send CGC books anymore.
Well, and I think their quality, the quality of their slab to me is better. And I don't mind the look of their label. Everyone's like, oh, it doesn't look as good. Why? You just need that white sticker, and that's what does it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's your preference, that's cool. And as far as people go, oh, for resale value. Well, CBCS is kind of caught up with that now.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to sell a book that's CBCS graded, I'm not going to take less than what somebody would pay for a CGC. I'll just keep it then.
Yeah.
If they want it, if they really want it, they'll buy it.
It's really up to us, right? Ultimately, Well, it's up to
ultimately,
the
yeah,
network.
it's up to, again, I think the market's coming around to CBCS, and again, if they do change the label, you're just going to see this mass exodus to
Right.
it's gonna propel them to the top, because that's really what's keeping them back, right? Because I do agree. I think CGC does have the better design in terms of um, the label only, but the slab design is definitely, I think, CBCS's advantage. But we'll see. But yeah,
And they
again,
have some some UV protection
UV
too.
protection, CBCS, yeah. Overall, just
Exactly,
everything.
comic journey, as long as it's not PGX.
What's wrong with the PGX?
Yeah. So let's talk about. We didn't really get into what got you into comic collecting. Uh, we know you love Conan. We know you love Roy Thomas got you into the content. But take us back. Start us out. You know, you obviously were a kid at some point, and you probably got into comic books, like all of us did when we were younger. Um, Walk us through what I guess 12-year-old you was collecting.
Well, I think, when you're a kid, you either have a vivid imagination or you don't. And you see these characters on the cover, and they either draw you in or they don't. And you see Spider-Man on a cover, and you're either like, oh my gosh, or you see things like Ben Grimm. You see a warrior like Conan, and you know, I've always been an avid reader, and when I saw those characters, not only was the character design so good, but I had to know what the story was. And like Marvel Team Up growing up, it's just such a great series, and
Oh yeah.
Marvel 2-in-1s, and just
Do you ever
so
like the
many
Jump
things.
Connor?
Huh?
Jump Connor.
I did not. I never read the comics because I
Really?
never saw those comics when I was young. Where I grew up, there was like one comic store, and I didn't know about it. So whatever I got usually was off a spinner rack or given to me from somebody else that was getting rid of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who's it by? Who's the Jump Connor originally by?
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Edgar Rice Burroughs. He's the Tarzan and Jump. So are you into Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff?
I am, but not to the extent of Robert E. Howard's stuff. I think Robert E. Howard's just a more visceral writer to me, and I connect to it on that level a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
There's it's like if a Tarzan movie comes out, I don't have to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
But if a Conan or Red Sonja or Solomon Kane movie comes out, I'm going to be there opening day.
Yeah.
I honestly, comic, I think he's too old to play that now. Arnold's up there, and even when Conan became king, it was in its early 40s in the books. But I want to, and I have nothing against Arnold playing Conan, but I'm ready for a cinema accurate Conan where he reflects who Conan is in the books.
Yeah.
Conan played by Arnold, and it's not Arnold's fault; it's the writing's fault.
Yeah.
Was never written as the smartest person, and the fact that people think Conan's stupid just pisses me off because it means they never actually read any of the true stories and properties of it. And he's always out thinking his opposition. He rose himself up to be a king and was the most fabled king of Aquilonia ever because of his fair rule and the way he was able to rule. And he's got a lot of brains that are never depicted when they move him to Hollywood.
Yeah. I think we touched on this earlier, but if you're gonna do Conan, it has to be a longer format. It has to be like a seasonal serial format, and you got to build up to something, and then maybe you launch a movie based off that. But it's got to be it just can't be like a 2-hour, because again, if you're talking about a character like Conan, you got to build up the events around the character and put him through some trials and tribulations and see how he overcomes those.
There's so many stories. You could even just adapt a story like Red Nails or People of the Black Circle or the Iron Shadows in the Moon. Just you can adapt one of those. They're not long stories. They're great stories and make a great adaptation. As far as who would play him, Comic Journey, you choose an unknown that can become Conan, just like Arnold did. He was known in the weightlifting world, and he had Hercules in New York under his belt, but he was mostly unknown to the populace.
Yeah, I think
you just cast an unknown.
Probably who's not afraid to be typecasted, because unknowns will not be afraid to be typecasted. Whereas this big shot, I don't be typecasted into this and that,
Well, yeah, that, and when you get an unknown, there doesn't come any expectations from the audience. This person can become the character. You cast a well-known actor, and you're going to say, "Oh, that's just them playing themselves," right?
Yeah.
Because you can't distinguish them from the character.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking, The Rock would have made a great Conan, but because he's The Rock,
all you would have saw was The Rock.
Yeah, you would detract from the character.
I think
all you would have been thinking the whole time is, can you smell what the barbarians cooking?
I think he might be okay with the what's that Shazam movie? What's his name? The
Black Adam.
Oh
Black
yeah, that's
Adam.
gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. But Conan, I think Conan, you gotta have a new character. That way, it gives you hope that he will continue on. Arnold, I mean,
Can you highlight Comic Boom's question?
Hello, Comic Boom.
So he's asking what we think of Conan moving to Titan Comics. The last thing I read by Titan Comics was Gun Honey. I love that series. I thought it was really well written. I love the characters. I can't wait for the second series to come out.
Now, how long is that series? How long is that Gun Honey series?
The first one was 4 issues. I think the next one is 4 issues. But the thing about Titan Comics is they hire really good artists. They have really good paper quality. They have a position in the comics world that's new, but can be defined by getting a title character like a Conan that they can pour their resources into. So Conan being at Titan Comics, I think, is a good move, not only for Titan Comics, but also for Conan properties, where Titan Comics will tell a Conan story, and I think it'll be good. But they won't just limit it to Conan. They'll tell Solomon Kane stories. They'll tell King Kull stories. They'll tell Dark Agnes stories. They have all the Robert E. Howard properties minus Red Sonja to play with, because I don't think Dynamite's giving up the reins anytime soon. And so I think Titan Comics, if Conan was going to land anywhere, I think that's a pretty damn solid place for Conan to land.
About CJ's question, what do you think about? They choose Red Sonja already?
They had as soon as he asked, I forgot her name, but she already stepped down from the role, and I'm kind of sad that she did. I'll tell you who the actress is in a second. I just forgot because he asked.
Also, there is a Red Sonja movie coming out.
There was.
Yeah, that's
development. There's a script out there. Her name. Why can't I think of it? Oh, Hannah John Kamen. So she was in the TV series Killjoys, and where they were kind of like space bounty hunters, and she was also in Ant-Man 2, where she played Ghost. The good thing about her is, look, if you're playing Red Sonja, the most important thing about Red Sonja is she looks unique. Hannah John Kamen not only looks unique, she's also a great actress, and she can also do her own stunts. So she checks all the boxes, and a lot of people were against it because she wasn't a white actress.
Or didn't have red hair.
Well, you can dye anyone's hair. That doesn't matter. I thought when they announced her, and she recently stepped down from the role, which kind of saddened me. I thought she was a great choice. I was excited to see her play Red Sonja. I thought she had the acting chops, she had the stunt background, and she also had the acting ability. She had all, and in the fourth and final part, she had a unique look. Nobody looks like Hannah John Kamen. She has these dynamite eyes. She has unique features, and I thought she would have made a great Red Sonja.
Very good. Very good points. I like that.
Yeah.
And I know that opinion's unpopular, but I don't care. It's my opinion.
No, I actually liked her look. I actually liked her look. And like you
Not
say,
familiar with the
I,
actress, but
I
I'll
didn't
check
I
it
didn't
out.
see any problem where she was a black lady and had red hair. That didn't bother me at all.
Angel, what are you doing? Sorry, my cat's going crazy for some reason. But no, I thought she was great.
The most important thing is she needs to have a fire red hair. Well, I mean, like Gary says, they could color that, right? I mean,
Right. And
So-
Norn Rad's question: do you like Jason Momoa Conan movie? Yes,
Okay, wow.
and a little bit no, right? Yes, because Jason Momoa is the most accurate depiction of how Conan the Barbarian is written in the books, as far as appearance wise. He looks more like the Robert E. Howard Conan that Howard wrote. He has the size, although he's not a mountain. Conan's not a mountain. He's big in the writings, but he's fit. He's this guy that can scale a tower with ease. You can't see the Arnold Conan scaling a tower.
Mhm.
The problem with the Jason Momoa movie was the script. It wasn't Jason Momoa, and it had some good elements, but overall, I think they just tried to be too flashy and not tell a good story.
I'm going to change this question a little bit. Southern Comic asked, I mean, he didn't ask, but if you had a choice, okay, for casting a Red Sonja character, you had she had to be hot or she had to be badass. If you could only choose one of those two, which would you choose?
Well, she's both, but
Well,
yeah.
you can't. She's got to be both. That's the
She's gotta be
character.
both, yeah.
You can't just choose one.
Okay.
So he said the girl has to have red hair and be hot. Those are true. She also has to be badass.
Well, so I disagree with Comic Geek. The red hair obviously is a requirement. I don't think the character has to be quote unquote hot. You know what I mean? Like the character has to be fierce, has to be
well, I don't want a pinup either. I want like an athletic.
right. How
she's got to be athletic.
Exactly. How fierce is like a supermodel type, like, swimsuit model gonna be? How realistic is that? Like, can you even hold up a broadsword?
But we do have hot athletes that are out there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. So I guess what we're trying to
beef it.
We're trying to define is what hot is. What is hot? I think more accurately, you have to find someone with a good deal of like physical attractiveness, but also be fierce, like someone who's physically like can fit into the role. So yeah, I would disagree with like just quote unquote hot. She needs to be like physically a good
I mean,
part of her character is that men want her, and that she uses that to her advantage.
Right.
Sigourney Weaver. If we look at her, just look at her without any, she don't come off as a hot person, but because she's so tough, and because she's so tough in the movie, I mean that makes me think that she's hot. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I don't think.
I don't think. I disagree that she doesn't have to be hot. She just has to be attractive and fierce. Those I think are more important than
right. Yeah, she doesn't have to be supermodel hot. She just has to be attractive.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Bridget Nielsen was not supermodel hot as Red Sonja in the movie, but she was a horrible actress, and it sounded like every time she said a line, it was a brand new line to her. there was that one scene where she's talking to her sister and Calidor is there. And she's like, I don't need you to, it's none of your business. And then in the same line, she's like, who are you anyway? And she's like, what? Did she just come back on set? It's just like completely disconnected, her acting and her phrasing. Just horrible.
Yeah.
But having said that, I'll still watch the movie once a month. Because it's Red Sonja.
Yeah, of course.
And the other 80s stereotype they had to get away from, right, is putting a child in every one of them.
Huh?
Comic Journey's pushing your button.
Comic Journey is just focused on the super hot part. Obviously, he has a thing for Red Sonja. We'll give that to him.
Well, it's funny because everybody thinks I read Red Sonja because of the bikini and her looks, and I read her because she's a warrior. And the bikini's not my favorite suit of hers. My
actually like the one over there, the one in your back wall.
Right, that's my favorite suit. Where is it? Oh yeah, my favorite suit is right here with the chainmail.
I love that suit right there. Yeah.
Nice.
It's hold on. Too many slabs.
Get that first cover of Red Sonja back up.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, perfect.
Oh goodness.
Bridget Nielsen did better.
I think we agreed. Bridget Nielsen was not a great actress. She was not a great actress.
But let me take it out of the plastic. Hold on.
Yeah, there you
Red
go.
Sonja outfit.
Yep.
That's a great one. That's a great,
And she looks like a warrior. She's got the chainmail shirt on.
Again, exactly. Yeah. So that's pretty much what the character should be right there.
Yeah, and the bikini was invented by Esteban Murado, and then that was it from there on out. That's what everybody latched onto.
True. My mom would have been perfect Red Sonja.
Was she hot?
Was she hot?
Now I'm going to be the judge of that.
She was mean. She was mean. Well, you can say that about any female character in comics, right? Comic Journey, like it's sort of the format of comics. We have this sort of stereotypical male fantasy for female characters, and
it's the same with the guys. They're all built superheroes.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like we don't in a movie like Conan, you don't necessarily have to have that come to the forefront for a character like Red Sonja.
Right, it's just so many good things. Oh, I did. Sorry, it just came to me where I left
the
that.
New Upmade looks not bad. New Upmade looks pretty good.
There it is.
Dazzler. Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah. Dazzler.
That's the appearance. Dazzler. When was that?
X-Men 230. First appearance of Dazzler, second appearance of Kitty Pryde, and one other character.
So that's after.
They gotta bring Dazzler. They gotta bring Dazzler into the X-Men teams at some point.
What's her what I'd like to see them do with her is do a Disney Plus series set in the 70s with Dazzler in the 70s. She doesn't have to be modern. You could do it in the 70s with the disco in the late 70s.
That'd be a great idea. Yeah.
And just do a period piece.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to introduce the character. For sure.
Comic Journey's expert comic phone review.
DC always bringing the humor.
Yeah, DC and they get on each other because they're the same dudes.
And Journey, if you wanted to laugh, man, watch the show I had earlier with patriotic covers.
Yeah, Johnny, you missed it, man. You missed it when you didn't see the what was it? Oh yeah, Kool-Aid. You need to go watch Patriotic Comics.
Exactly. Bill gets it. And there's no reason you can't make a period piece with it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Not every mutant had to just come up in the modern world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be perfect for Disco to be in there. I mean, I think people will be a lot more forgiving if they make a period piece with the Disco, right?
Right.
Rather than having a Disco in modern setting.
Right. And if you bring Dazzler to the screen, you don't want to see her blue outfit. You want this outfit.
Yeah.
The disco outfit, yeah.
And give Allison Blair her due.
All right, so let's wrap this up with just sort of the things you've been working on. I know you do a lot of content with a lot of different people in the community. Why don't you just walk us through some of the things that you have planned for the channel, planned for just collecting in general?
For collecting, just to keep collecting whatever Conan's coming out in Black Cat. Most of the old stuff I have that I wanted now. I completed my Conan the Bar. I have all 275 issues, plus the 12 annuals, the 5 giant sizes, all the Treasury editions. I have all those. I have all
Did
the.
you buy? So wait. So when you were pursuing this, did you go out and buy like a collection of Conan?
I did not. I have a really good LCS, and I became friends with the owner, and he sold me a lot of books cheap, and
Nice.
helped me get my collection.
Nice.
Because I also this year I had another person that I know locally, and I bought something like 90 issues of Savage Sword of Conan and finished that collection. And Namen and Varangian Vigilante AOK'd me the last 2 issues I needed to complete it.
Oh, sweet.
Namen and Varangian both sent me an issue, and those 2 issues that they sent me completed the Savage Sword of Conan for me.
Nice.
So
Yeah, it wasn't even. It was so cheap to do it.
Huh?
So wait, how do you store the Savage Swords? Because the Savage Swords are
Magazine boxes.
Yeah, magazine boxes. Okay,
And they're
That's
all
a
bagged
lot
and
of
boarded with
issues.
magazine bags and boards.
that's a lot of issues.
235 issues in an annual.
Oof.
Plus, I have a lot of doubles of a lot of them.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's one of the questions I was going to ask. You buy double because you want to sell them, or because you want to trade them,
Neither. I just
or you want to keep them all?
Yeah. I
third one.
I also pick up doubles of what I collect as well because you can never have too many. So
Now, I don't know if you guys wanted to see this. I put a few things aside that I also collect.
Yeah, sure.
That are Conan related.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So, I'm a big fan
There.
of the old pastiche and pulp novels. So I collect.
Oh, nice.
I collect all of these, and this is only a sampling. I got probably 60 of these upstairs.
So those are the books you're referring to. The
These are
novels.
the Frazetta ones. Well, those So this is these are like this is a pastiche, right? These are by Red Nails. This is all Robert E. Howard.
Mhm.
But other ones.
Do you collect the paperbacks, or are you trying to collect the hardbacks? You said you have the leather-bound hardbacks.
Yeah, those are the collected works of Robert E. Howard, the collected Conans, and those have just his stories in them.
Those books never came in a big books, right?
These?
Yeah.
Some of them did, depending on the author. Some of them I have
out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, some of them I have in hardcover.
Wow.
Like there's a few.
Are those the Frazetta covers?
A lot of these that I just showed you are the Frazettas. I didn't bring down the other ones that had other, but you had great people like Ken Kelly working on the covers and Earl Norham, and just you had all these incredible fantasy authors working on them.
Those are really cool.
Hey Gary, those books, are they still available like in half price bookstores?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Probably, yeah. Those would be actually really cool to collect. Yeah.
I like your statue back there, the one that you shown on your video. That one.
Here, two. This is the Conan 112,
Oh, nice.
modeled after the Frazetta.
Nice.
And then we have
The Red Sonia.
The Sonya.
the Red Sonia right there.
Yeah.
And this
She
one
in,
was
the,
pretty
in
cool.
the bikini. No. Oh well. Yeah. She didn't.
Yeah, and this one, this is a little figure, but this thing was an $80 figure.
Wow.
And, well, this one was 90. But up there, that's a signed print by Ken Kelly.
Nice.
So then this.
Oh.
Okay,
Action
you want to
figure.
put that inside the box?
I got another one outside the box.
Okay.
This was an that was an AOK from Nick's Kicks and Comics. This next one was an AOK from Scott from Hoarder's Hide.
Oh, nice.
Conan and Raw, and this set right now goes for 100 or more.
Wow.
Then we got this I bought this year, which is like a copy of the old Mezco Conan.
Oh, wow.
So just fun, great blister card art. You got
Oh, nice.
and then I think this figure is the first figure ever that had James Earl Jones' face on it. Pulse of Doom.
Oh, wow. That's
I
cool.
love that.
Right?
I love that.
And this one is one of my favorites because this is a Super 7 figure based on the cover of Conan #1.
Oh, nice.
Wow. I don't know what to do with that cup. I mean, do you show the box or you show the figure? The box is awesome too.
Oh, the box is beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the box is nice. Cool.
So I collect those oddball Conan things too. So as you can see, I'm a pretty extensive collector.
Yeah, is this true? Bill says you buy three, one for display, one to keep in box, and one for backup.
No, they're too expensive for that. The figures are way too expensive for that. It's funny because most of the original Conan the Barbarian series I have doubles of, and a lot of them I have triples of.
Wow.
And whenever I see one in good shape, I'm always still buying them.
Yeah, I have one. I don't collect Conan, but I do have one Conan comic on my list, and I think it's
Would you ever want
Conan.
to write your own Conan story?
They didn't make a Boombada figure, Journey. I don't think they made any Conan the Defender figures. Not
What
yet,
about the
anyway.
Will Chamberlain statue. Conan Will Chamberlain.
Well, that was great too. When you see the set pictures, like it just gave you a scale of how big Wilt Chamberlain really was, because he even made Arnold look small.
Exactly.
Wilt Chamberlain was a big dude.
Yeah, he's big.
And a lot of people didn't know that in Conan the Defender that Andre the Giant was in that movie twice. When he first goes into town and you see this guy stand up, all you see is the back of him. He's holding the camel. That's Andre.
Oh, really?
Yep. And the rubber monster, the suited monster at the end, that's Andre in the suit.
Yeah, there's some set pictures of Andre, Wilt, and Arnold that are pretty famous.
They are. They're fun pictures.
Yeah. Just three huge guys.
Oh, very nice, Norin.
Wow.
Wow.
That'd be cool.
And I remember as a kid begging my parents to take me to see the Conan the Barbarian movie. I begged them, like, this is the only thing I want. I just want to see this movie. And they took me, and it was when it was still drive-ins, right? And so everything was always a double feature. And it was Conan the Barbarian, and then a movie that didn't fit with it at all. Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke.
I'm sure your parents,
that was a double bill.
I'm
But I
sure your
remember
parents
as a
were
kid
like,
just sitting in the back of that car, between the seat of my parents, just watching that movie in complete awe that I'm watching Conan the Barbarian on the big screen.
That's a
So
good
Bill's
story.
asking, what's the Conan book on Otaku's list?
Oh yeah, the one. So there's a Jim Lee cover. I think it's like 243 or 242 or something like that.
Oh yeah, the Jim
Yeah,
Lee.
the Jim Lee does a cover on that with and it's a cover with him and Red Sonja, Conan and Red Sonja on it.
It's
so.
funny because he did more than that cover, but people only know that he did that cover. They don't know about the other covers of Conan that Jim Lee did. He did
Are there other covers?
He did 3, I think, total.
Okay. We'll
He did some earlier ones, but they weren't famous. That one got famous because it was right after the McFarlane cover.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the 1-2 punch of the guys that just created Image and
yeah. That's a bit, and so I'm trying to find that raw. I go through the Conan comics to get that, but I never find it. So
Gary keep on saying Conan 3 times, so we get 3 wings.
right. Right. But it's well, obviously I have that book, but it's awesome. It's a fun read.
My friend who first introduced me to comic book, he was a huge Conan fan in the 70s. So that's why I like Conan, Red Sonja character. And I want to ask you about the
well, Conan was selling better than any of their other big books. It was even selling better than Spider-Man and back in the day. And Fantastic Four and Captain America, it was selling better then.
yeah.
It was funny because it almost got canceled with issue 3. And Roy convinced them to leave it on a couple more issues, and then it picked up and then went on for 275.
Nice.
Silvestri cover.
The McFarlane cover was just okay to me. I don't think he did a great Conan.
Yeah, the Silvestri. There's a great King Conan Silvestri cover. The all black. That is an amazing cover. That's another comic I want.
Mark Silvestri had like a 8-issue run doing
right. He had a run of it. Yep, exactly. The early one.
I just finished reading that run.
Yeah,
I'm on issue 31 next. I'm rereading all the King Conans right now.
Yeah, and those are all great covers. I absolutely agree.
Yeah. There's a part in there the Kaluta covers I didn't care for.
Mm-hmm.
They're too abstract, and then he made covers without Conan on them. Like, it's Conan's mag. You put Conan on the cover.
That's the rule.
I'm like, who approved this shit? But no, yeah, that was it. I just thought I'd show those because you guys said to have other things you collected with you, so I pulled those down.
Yeah,
well, I mean that's fantastic.
So, anything coming up on the channel that people should look out for?
Well, just my normal stuff. So tomorrow I got my Savage Saturday comic review where I review a Conan or Red Sonja and other Savage book. Tuesday we got the 1011 coming up, and we got Cuppy from Cup of Comics on. William over there, he's great, really good dude. Thursday on In the Hot Seat we have I just forgot. We have Dale from Dale of Suspense. And I keep coming up with other live shows to do here and there. But also you can catch me on Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics channel tomorrow, where I'm co-hosting Slab Hub with Chris the Comic Vet.
Oh yeah, we love Rob from Fat Stacks. Yeah.
Rob's on vacation and Chris and I are running. He's letting the animals run the zoo tomorrow.
Oh wow, you guys are like
That'll
running
be
the
fun.
show without Rob?
Yep, no Rob tomorrow, just me and Chris.
Wow. Okay.
All right, you got to tune into that one. You got to tune into that.
Boris did. So did Ken Kelly. So did Earl Norem. Some of the best Conan covers ever were by Earl Norem. And he did dozens. His Savage Sword covers hold up to anyone else's.
Oh yeah, those Savage Sword covers were amazing.
Yeah, Bill's got it right. See, Bill's also a big Conan collector. And Pre-Code Horb.
Yeah.
If you guys have never watched his channel, man, he's got some dynamite books.
I see him on Cover Slingers and And
Bill's
just
been getting
wanted to-
around lately. He's
Huh?
been a little YouTube whore. He's been everywhere.
Yeah, he's been. I don't know his channel, but I know the dude.
He's one of the community's best. Great sense of humor, great
I
guy.
love his sense of humor.
No, I probably ran your show too long with all my talking.
Well, we are a little over time, but it's been a great conversation. I definitely learned a lot about Conan, and it's great to see you have this passion for the character and the long running series. It really is, again, an IP that I think we're just waiting for it to come out, and so that we can enjoy for years to come. So, Gary, thanks for joining this conversation, man. It was a fun conversation. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed myself.
I would appreciate you, Gary, for gracing us with your presence.
Exactly.
King of
I should thank you for putting up with this ugly face for an hour and a half.
No.
After
And
2 hours before this, remember?
Right?
For everybody watching, go check out Gary's channel. Follow him on Instagram. What other kind of channels are you on?
Fat Sad.
Yeah, I show up on Rob's channel a lot. I show up occasionally on Varangi and Vigilante's channel, and pretty much any place else I'm invited.
Nice.
If you reach out to me, odds are I'll show up on your channel and say hi.
Some terrible unboxing.
Right?
They're saying did you have some terrible unboxings recently?
I just
Comic Journey.
I can watch DC Irish and Comic Journey go back and forth all night. Those two are funny.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks for joining the channel tonight. Have a great evening, great weekend. Enjoy your, stay cool. I know it's hot in a lot of the places in the United States right now. So stay cool.
Where you at? New York, right?
Rochester, New York. Yeah, I'm sweating my ass off right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it's hot up there. Stay cool, and again, I'm looking forward to just watching, catching your content on the channels.
All right.
All right, cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for the chat room showing up, guys. We'll see you next week for this.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.